everyone, it's Mercedes and welcome back to Half-Baked Ideas. Today, I'm going to be talking about how to land your dream job, or really any job at all. I know it's still kind of the beginning of summer, end of spring, when people are looking for work, whether that's at your local coffee shop or a big girl job, as I like to call it. Listen, I've been working since I was about 12 years old. Pretty much as soon as it was legal for me to babysit, I did it. As soon as it was legal for me to work at my dance studio, I did it. As soon as it was legal for me to get a job in food service, I did it. And even before that, I was always the type of kid to run my own lemonade stand and literally haggle with adults at yard sales. So you could say I have some experience in the professional industry. Now, I have done a lot of interviews in my time, some good, some bad. Obviously haven't gotten every single job I've ever applied for, but it's something that only improves with time. Now I can say at the ripe age of almost 21, I've got it down to almost a science. So I'm gonna share that with you today. More recently, I've been on the other end of the hiring table, bringing on a video editor. Say hi, Sheeza.
Hi, I'm Sheeza. I'm Mercedes' editor. I hope you enjoyed the video.
So now I have a little bit more perspective about the hiring process from both ends of the table. As for the baking, in honor of the many Zoom coffee chats and interviews that we've had to do online, I will be making biscotti. It's the perfect thing to go with coffee, so why not? And in honor of facing your fears and going for new jobs, this is the first time I have ever made biscotti, so hold your applause. If these turn out so bad, like, I don't know if I can put this video on the internet, but I mean, I guess that's the beauty of it too, right? When you're applying to jobs, it's an experience. Whether or not you get the job, you learn something out of it. So that's how I'm gonna justify it if these biscottis end up being trash. I will be following a recipe from The Joy of Cooking. This is literally the Bible of cooking, and they never let me down. So this is what I'm gonna be following today. Let's talk about the ingredients. I'm gonna be looking down because I don't know all of them. As I said, this is my first time making the biscotti. In a lot of baking recipes, it is good to separate the dry mix from the wet mix. To be honest, I don't know exactly why. Might have to look that up later and add it into the video. I've just heard that that's what you're meant to do. I think it just allows for better mixing. I'm even gonna use a sifter today for my dry ingredients because apparently that is also important, which I rarely do, but we're on video, so we're gonna go all out. So in terms of the dry ingredients, we have 3 1/3 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder, not to be confused with baking soda. I have made that mistake before, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I always use kosher salt when I'm baking as opposed to table salt. There's also a reason for that. I'll get back to you on it. All of the other ingredients are going to be used in the wet mix. So for that, we have 1/4 cup of vegetable or canola oil, 1 1/4 cups of white sugar, 2 large eggs, finely grated lemon zest. We'll see how that goes. I am terrible at zesting things. It says 1 teaspoon of anise or almond extract. I don't have that, so we're gonna go with 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. You can't go wrong with vanilla extract, right? We'll see. And I'm also going to be adding some dried cranberries as well as almonds to the mix, but my mom's currently at the grocery store, so we're waiting for those to come back. So I'll add them in when she gets home. All right, let's get started. All right, as we mix our dry ingredients, let's talk about the resume. Don't mind if I'm looking down, just trying to actually follow the recipe so it doesn't turn out terrible. General tip for resumes, keep it short and sweet. No need to share your life story, you can save that for the interview. Just kidding, don't do that either. But really, a resume only needs 2 things. Your full name and contact information, and only your address if they require it. We don't want to be giving out too many personal details to people we don't know. And second, your relevant work experience. Keyword here is relevant. Oh, I just forgot to use the sifter, so hold on a second. Oh, back in she goes. Off to a great start. So like I said, the key element here, the key word is relevant experience. You want to make sure that if you're applying for a job at a media company that you're not necessarily telling them about your year working at McDonald's. You have limited space on a resume, you want to keep it to about a page long, and unless that's the only experience you have, I would just keep it off. You can definitely talk about the skills that you learned while you were at that job, but hold that for the interview. Speaking of experience, you want to really make sure that you highlight your achievements as opposed to the job description. Like saying that you flipped burgers isn't necessarily an asset. But if you achieve something at the job, like if you became a trainer or a store manager, those are the types of things that you want to put, oh god, that you want to put on a resume, especially instances where you took initiative or had leadership roles. So highlight those things as opposed to just a straight up description of whatever it was that you did. Now, if you have room at the end of your one page, this is where you can list your awards, your different skills. A good one to list is if you speak multiple languages, and any other relevant skills as well. So Microsoft Office. I mean, I feel like everyone at this point is pretty well equipped with Microsoft Office, but you know, learn to use Word, I guess. In general though, not the most important thing. However, if you're going for an adult job, your education might be important. You want to show that you paid money on a degree and now you have debt and that's why you need a job. So be sure to include that too. But if it's a retail job, I mean, you can list your high school or whatever university you've been to, but not the most necessary information. It's just not that applicable. There's so much flour on the counter. You guys, I'm not a professional baker. I know it might seem like it from this luscious facade, but alas, I am not. That is so much flour. All right. Okay, we're going with it, we're going with it. Look how nice it looks when it's sifted. Oh God, boom, gorgeous. I literally never sift my flour, so I'm kind of proud right now. All right, step 2 is the cover letter. Not all job applications require cover letters. Pretty much what it is just a little bit of an introduction to you and your interest in the job. Whether or not they ask for a cover letter, it's good to express these kinds of things anyway, whether that's in your email or in the top of your resume or whatever it is. Most places do require a cover letter or at least like some type of additional information, but not all do. So just, you know, keep an eye on the application. So what do you do in your cover letter? Well, you can expand on your resume details. So if there was a specific incident at one of the jobs that you had, preferably one that is extremely relevant to the company that you are applying for. Wait, how much do I need? That's a teaspoon. Oh, for the baking batter, not the salt. Another tip I have is to be formal, but also show a bit of your personality. If your entire cover letter sounds like a Jane Austen novel, like, I would just start from scratch. And the third thing is just to keep it short and descriptive. 1 page absolute max, but I'm thinking somewhere in the range of 2 to 3 paragraphs. How many words is that? Like 600 words? Somewhere around there. Eventually people will just get bored, so just save most of it for the interview. Okay, moving on to email etiquette. Listen to me when I say this. There is no shame in using Grammarly. Just put your pride aside and form coherent sentences. Speaking of putting things aside, awesome segue. I can put away these dry ingredients now and move on to the wet. Wet. We're gonna use this. Please ignore the table. Oh my God. So freaking loud outside, man. So here are some tips for email etiquette. I have sent so many emails and made so many email mistakes. Number 1, use the person's name when possible. You should only use to whom it may concern when you genuinely have no idea. Maybe you're cold emailing, whatever it is. If the person's name is in their email, just use the name that's on there. It seems way more personal and it's just a softer vibe, you know? Cover letters, kind of something different. You might be more inclined to use to whom it may concern because it might be a hiring manager, but for email, just keep it a little bit more casual. Also, respond in a reasonable time frame. This is not Tinder, okay? You don't get to leave them on red for a couple of days to, you know, make them wait and make them sweat a little. Respond as soon as you can. There's no shame in responding, you know, the second you get an email even. Like, it's really better to be on your game and responding quickly than waiting. No more than 24 hours though, unless you have some valid excuse, in which case, tell them. I'm having a really hard time talking while I pour these ingredients, if you haven't noticed. Also, don't respond in the unholy hours of the night. Like, do not respond to an email at 1 a.m. It's just bad form. If you just think about it, it's just not right. Like, that person's asleep. What if they have their email notifications turned on? They hear that godforsaken ding at 1 in the morning and you're the person that woke them up. I feel like they will not be in a very good mood for your interview the next day. So, you know, stop sending emails at like 10 p.m. Same kind of goes for the weekend unless it's urgent. It's also a good way to set boundaries, which you will need to do if you get the job. And finally, just be kind and super detailed as much as possible in your emails. That's a lot of sugar. Frickin' plain, man, so rude. Stop lying. I'm filming a video. I'll talk a bit more later about kindness because it can go a long way. So keep it in mind when you're emailing. Let's move on to interviews. You got the interview, fantastic, congratulations, I'm so proud of you. The first thing you need to do is prepare. This is gonna take some brain power. Not the interview, I mean yes the interview, but mostly me cracking the eggs while I speak to you and not trying to get shells in the bowl, so bear with me. So the first thing is preparation. This means learning about the business. Do some research on them, what they're all about. Find something that you really like about them. This will make a huge difference. Business owners, whether they're entrepreneurs or representatives of a larger business, just want someone that's gonna be completely on board and that is committed to their brand and their mission. So the more research you do and the more enthusiastic you are about the company, the better. Not even gonna risk it with the one hand today. I have been practicing that, but there's already a shell in it. Amazing. Fantastic. This is why I'm not doing one hand today. Oh shit. Number 2, dress the part. A wise mentor once told me that you should envision the way that you see yourself dressing and looking when you have the job. And this is like in peak performance, not when you're in sweatpants. And basically to dress that way during the interview. So if you're applying to a bank or a business firm, you might want to wear a suit or a nice blazer. If you're applying to a tech startup or something in media, you might be able to wear something a little bit more casual, but still stylish. Look like you're up with the kids, you know? I am a kid, okay. There's another shell in it. Oh my God, I'm gonna lose my mind. Okay, no, it sunk. No, fuck. Whew, there it is. Found it. Even if it's on Zoom, it's just good to dress your best. I think it plays a huge part in your mindset, whether you're working in an office or working from home. All right, when you're actually in the interview, be prepared to give examples. Sit down, jog your memory, think of some great things you did at your last job, and give a detailed story, honestly. When someone asks about your experience in leadership roles, or you know, that typical question like, what was a time when you frickin' clock. You know that typical dreaded question that's like, what's a time when you experienced a challenge in a leadership position and what did you do about it? Seriously, sit down and come up with some of those answers. Someone's not just gonna take your word for it. Another thing, don't badmouth other companies or other people in your interview. You might see it as an opportunity to connect with the hiring manager or to kiss ass, so to speak, but to be honest, it's just gonna make you look rude and potentially untrustworthy, so keep it professional. My mom came back with the almonds and the cranberries, so I'm gonna go ahead and add those as well. Probably gonna do about a half cup of each of them. It's not in this original recipe, but I love cranberry almond biscotti, so that's why we're doing it. Taking chances, taking risks. Do I look like Gary Vee right now? Do it. Get up at 6 a.m., go for a run, take a shit. Never stop grinding. Another thing that I think people forget to do when they're in interviews is ask to clarify or repeat questions. It's better to ask. You won't look dumb. It's better to ask and answer the question properly than just sort of answer the question based on what you think you heard and then not give a correct answer, if that makes sense. There are no dumb questions. Now cranberry time. And my last tip for killing your interview is to ask some questions of your own. Obviously about job specifics, but I have some other favorite interview questions that I think leave interviewers with a good idea of you in their mind. By the way, I'm putting these ingredients in with the wet mix because it will protect them from burning when they are in the oven. So here are some of my favorites. I'm gonna read them off to you, okay? The first one, what is the work environment like here? Second, what are you looking for in a candidate? This can also give a good opportunity if there's, for example, a special skill or a special experience that you forgot to list. If they mention something here that triggers something in your brain that you think would be a good fit, go ahead and bring that up now. Sometimes it can remind you of things you completely forgot about. This is a really good one. If I got this job, what would peak performance look like for me? In other words, how can I be the best employee to you? This allows them to envision you in the role and for you to get off to a great start once you actually start working there, because with these tips, you will. That is not guaranteed. Can we put a disclaimer? Not a warranty. Do not come back for your money in 30 days. And a final question, is there anything else you'd like to know about me? Sometimes people just want to keep it personal. They might have specific questions, something that they missed during the interview that they want to bring up at the very end. So throw it right back at them, and that's a good place to finish off. We're just gonna add the dry mix back into the wet mix, and we're gonna mix this one together really well. Ooh. Okay. So many weird sounds. We should be doing a count of how many freaking weird sounds I make during this video. Ah, 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 ooh. Ah, how pretty is that? Maybe I should sift more often. Ah, it's in my eye. This is what you would call a very chunky, very sticky dough. Okay, I'm gonna finish whisking this up, then I'm gonna throw it down on my, what do you call this? Anyway, I don't know, it's a plastic sheet that I'm gonna put flour on, so. All right, we're almost at the last part of baking here. I added a little bit more oil because it was extremely powdery, and this, oh, there's a lot of flour under there. This is what it looks like. This is a really weird dough. I mean, I followed the instructions, so it should be correct. Let's get this knife out here. I'm gonna chop this in half. Oh man, all right, here we go. Here we go. I wonder how many biscottis this is gonna make. How many does it say? 3 dozen, holy shit. I'm gonna start giving these away. These are very, very, very crumbly. Let's just try to work on them one at a time. So congrats, you killed that interview. Now, if you got the job, amazing, you earned it. And if you didn't, do not take it personally. You never know who you're up against or what they could have been looking for in a candidate. It doesn't mean that you're a bad employee or that you're a bad person or that you're not worthy. It just means that it wasn't the right job for you, and that's completely fine. Also, a note, if you felt like you had bad vibes from the interviewer and you just felt like it wasn't gonna be a good workplace for you, there is no shame in turning down job offers as well. You should only work at places where you see growth for yourself. As I push this into a log, I have 3 last pieces of advice for you that can really apply to any stage of this interview process. My first overall tip is to be humble. If you walk in there acting like you own the place, or like you're too good, or you think you're too good to respond to emails, or you are acting like you already have the job, no one's gonna respect that. So pay respect and be grateful. You don't know how many other people are applying for that job. Number 2, have confidence. There is a fine line between confidence and cockiness, and you want to walk on the right side of it. Don't diminish your accomplishments and your skills. You have to show it off. This is literally your only opportunity. Until you start working for them, of course, but you know. Log number 1, done-ish. Can you tell this is my first time making biscotti? Of course you can, that's fine. And finally, be kind. I know that sounds like the simplest thing in the world, but so many people forget about it. That looks like a log. Someone let me know. That's a super log looking log. Anyway, kindness is the main thing I want you to take away from this. Treat the hiring manager the exact same way that you want to be treated. Like a person. Beyond a hiring manager, they have a life and they have feelings, they have a schedule that you also need to adhere to. So it's the little things. Honestly, it's the little things. A smile, some small jokes, small talk. Oh, the oven's ready. And lots and lots and lots of thank yous can go a very, very long way. You don't want to be perceived as someone that's going to be hard to work with or that's a negative Nelly right from the get-go. Not saying you always need to be happy, particularly in a job, you know, express when things aren't working for you, of course, but in the interview process, it literally costs nothing to be kind. That's all the tips I have for now, so I'm gonna finish up these. What I'm gonna do is put these on my non-stick baking sheet or onto some parchment paper, and then after 25 minutes, I'm gonna take them out and actually slice them. Once that's done, I'm gonna put the slices back on the cookie sheet and then cook them for 10 minutes. Turn the slices every 5 minutes, so totally doable. These are actually looking pretty good. I'm kind of proud. Oh, I forgot to mention, we are going to do a little egg wash. I'm gonna put them on the sheets and then I'm gonna do the egg wash before they go in the oven. Oof. There's one loaf thing. There's 2 loaf thingamabobs. I'm gonna grab an egg and we're gonna do a quick little egg wash. Oh, damn it! Forgot the nutmeg. Next time. Now we'll do the one hand. Or will be. Come on. No, I need a little bit more. Shit. Oh God. Oh. Oh yeah, I did that. And actually, there was no shell in that one, so clearly that's what I should have been doing all along. By the way, I got a lot of these tips from a former manager of mine who once gassed me up and said that I was the best interview that he ever did from a student. So that basically gas has been living in my mind rent-free and is what, you know, made me think that I was even qualified to make this video in the first place. So Kareem, thank you so much for that. And for the ego boost. This is gonna make it super brown on top, nice and crispy, which is what you gotta love about a biscotti. Before it goes into the oven, this is what it's looking like. I really don't want it to fall down. Now that my biscottis are ready for the oven, I'm gonna put them in. By the way, I did end up eating the rest of that egg. I just added another one to it, threw some cheese on there, and I made a little breakfast sandwich. So I'm gonna eat this while I wait for the biscotti to cook. It's looking great, by the way. Let me give you a little beauty shot of my sandwich. Beauty shot. Yum. Cute. Here are the logs out of the oven. They're looking pretty good. Now I'm just gonna wait a little bit to cut them. Maybe about 25 minutes. So now I have cut them and we're gonna put them back in the oven at the same temperature for 10 minutes. Okay, my camera's being testy with me, but it is currently evening. My camera died, had to restart out here, but the biscotti is all done and it turned out absolutely beautifully. I dipped it in some coffee earlier and it was just super delicious. So now not only do we have some amazing biscotti, but you are also ready for your next job interview or your next job prospect. So thank you all so much for watching. Stay sweet and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.